Oh man, into January. Lots of stuff to cover, lots of stuff. I'm Draco.
I'm D-Pad.
I'm Crescendo.
And I'm the guy they can't get rid of.
Nope.
Seriously, we tried locking him in castles, but a plumber just saved him miraculously.
I kept telling him his princess wasn't in this castle, but he wouldn't listen.
Mr. Princess is not here, no.
We need more lemon pledge.
For a January, this is the most gaming news I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, usually January is kind of dry after the whole Christmas explosion.
No kidding.
Yeah, and there's, we had, CDC the other week? And I would have figured by now we'd be stuck with kind of the throwaway stories, considering everything big has already happened.
You'd figure you'll hear more about this game at E3, or look at this project we're working on. It's going to be at E3. All this E3 talk coming up, because...
Yeah, and then E3 happens in what, June? July?
Yeah.
And shows us nothing.
Nope,
yeah,
nothing.
The thing about E3 is it generally just shows us what we already know.
Cinematic trailers mostly, and then just a lot of, devs talking their heads off.
Yeah, there's maybe a couple of neat things there, but that's it really.
Alright, first up, Project X Zone will be coming to North America and Europe.
So basically, every Capcom and Namco character all mashed into one, I guess, fighting combat-styled tactical role-playing game, I guess you'd call it?
So, something like Brawl, or...?
No, something more like War of the Lions meets Tatsunoko vs. Capcom.
It seems weird. It's got dot hack references all over it. Actually, in the video, you get to see the church level.
Yeah, they're pulling out all the stops when it comes to references and other characters from other series. It's just a one big mashup.
One big happy family of nostalgia.
Oh yeah.
Yep, it'll hit you right in the nostalgia gland. Assuming you have one of those.
So right below the belt.
Anyway...
Kotaku did a nice little, I guess you could say, review of the most BA dragons in gaming. And of course our cover art is Onyxia from World of Warcraft.
Hey, you don't mess with her when you've got many whelps.
Yeah, I was hoping that Ridley and Meta Ridley would be a little higher on the list.
It does make me happy that through the list of all the biggest and baddest dragons in there, this one's small but awesome dragon, Spyro.
Yeah,
Back
Spyro did make the list, thankfully.
He was, what's the word I'm looking for with the Outlanders garbage?
Skylanders?
Skylanders, whatever. It's a useless piece of junk.
It sells like hotcakes, though.
That's because it's aimed towards kids and has little toys.
Has action figures, yes. And the gameplay isn't awful.
I love how he says it's aimed at kids, and me and my older brother were playing it more than my nephew was. So.
I'm disappointed, though. Bahamut is at the very bottom of the list.
I just thought Volvagia would be higher as well.
It's not really a list. It's not a normal list like 10 to 1 or 1 to 10. It's just a list in no particular order.
Hey,
yeah.
What is it? Drawn Dragmore from Eye of the Beholder 2. How old is that game?
Older than me.
Frickin' old. One that I'm glad's on here is Volvagia. That was one of my favorite bosses from Ocarina of Time.
Good old Whack-A-Mole.
It was Whack-A-Mole,
Although
too.
that was probably the easiest boss in the game.
No, the easiest boss was the Water Temple boss, because literally it is just hop around a bit, hook shot, smack, smack, smack.
Well, the Water Temple itself just leaves, the imprints of having to do, water level up, water level down, water level up, water level down, to such a maddening extent that it overhypes the boss.
No.
By the end of the Water Temple, you just want to sit in a corner sobbing.
No,
You
Crescendo, have you tried the Master Quest version of the Water Temple?
Oh, isn't that the whole thing reversed?
No, not necessarily, but you have to beat, 3 other temples in order to even attempt to do the other stuff.
I know. I have completed Master Quest.
Freak.
There's an official commercial for a new Fire Emblem game.
And there was much rejoicing.
And then there was much not caring from me.
Alright then, Sourpuss, why don't you talk about the next one?
What? You guys can have your fun. I can wait.
I guess somebody doesn't like good games and wants to play more crap that gets shovel-fed from frickin' Blizzard.
Hey, say what you will about Diablo 3. It's not Starcraft 2. At least that one has some semblance of balance and intelligence behind the design.
Yeah, just, get rid of the one thing that made the game sellable, like LAN.
Okay, yeah, I'll admit
Yep.
that. That is the biggest
Oh, and let's link it to
that.
one of the most convoluted and aggravating, online services, BattleNet.
It's what started Battle.net.
Yeah, I know.
But, other than that, Heart of the Swarm released their trailer, and holy crap! Battle cruisers are huge.
And Kerrigan is a boss.
That's no moon.
SO Moon, what the heck is that? It has tentacles! Oh my god, it's Japan's worst nightmare.
Yeah, if, after doing a little reading, that Leviathan that you see launching the death pods, so I'm going to call them, is your actual base of operations for the single-player campaign of Heart of the Swarm, similar to how the Hyperion was for Wings of Liberty.
Huh. Neat.
And, oh dear god, did they get the scale right on this game, right up from the siege line to the Nidus Worm, all the way to the battle cruiser at the end.
Nice to
tell you
see
one
an
thing.
RTS that actually has some semblance of scale.
I'll tell you one thing. Blizzard's going the way of Square Enix. They can make a damn good cinematic, but gameplay, kinda lacking.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
they
only
could just
so
make a
much you can
movie.
do.
They can just make a movie for all I care. I'd watch it.
They were planning on making a StarCraft movie.
Blizzard Movie Studios.
And
I
a
like
World of
the
Warcraft
sound of
movie.
it.
How would one make a
actually-
World of Warcraft movie? Would it just be documentary of
It'll
a
probably
WoW
be
geek?
based around
Documentary.
one of the books that happens between expansions.
It's supposed to be based off of Thrall's travels.
Oh, no, done. I'm out.
Maybe if they did one on, how the Lich King came to be as he is and the whole lore behind that, because that's actually interesting.
Oh, the
Or maybe some of the
Arthas.
early Warcraft lore, that'd be interesting. But other than that,
Or, here's some
No,
others.
I've
Go ahead.
got it. The perfect idea of a movie for them. They just go in game with a camera and follow around a Chinese gold farmer all day and document his movement.
I'm
Yeah, the WoW
fairly
documentary,
sure
'cause that works
WoW
so well
Friend
for the
or
Bronies.
Mindflame have done that already.
Moving on to other bedfellows, EA and American McGee are going at it. Evidently, American McGee doesn't like what they did with the new Alice game.
yeah, they pose it as a horror game when really hardcore horror was not how I would describe Alice.
It's more of a twisted game. It's not horror. It's more
Psychosis.
Yes, that's a brilliant way to put it. And the advertisement developers for the game, they were under EA's orders to make it more look like a horror game.
Now, in your opinion, what would you, considering the horror genre has exploded in recent years with games like Dead Space and Amnesia, what would you consider to be a true hardcore horror game?
Fatal Frame?
Something. Oh, are you talking about an actual example or
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2?
Silent
Without a
Hill
doubt.
2, Fatal Frame, that kind of thing.
What about Eternal Darkness?
That would do it.
But basically, something that can make you terrified to move, terrified of the darkness in your own room after you've put the controller or mouse down.
Yeah, not Slender Man, that's jump scares.
I'll tell you right now, Eternal Darkness is the only game that ever made me afraid to save.
Ooh.
Yeah, I avoid horror games like the plague.
I don't know, Dead Space has some good, like, psychosis, that kind of thing, elements to it, especially in the second game, not so much the first one, but on the majority it's jump scares.
Yeah, that was my biggest problem with Dead Space. The gameplay was actually quite solid. It wasn't clunky or anything. It actually flowed somewhat
Yeah,
well.
I was playing the demo for the third one. Gameplay's still there, just not, it's just kind of jump scares still, but it definitely plays like a solid, shooter. They've taken the clunkiness out of it from the first one because, good God, you felt like Isaac was in a lead suit. Then the second one, he was better because he had more tech and he's floating around in space. And now I actually feel like, when it's not, when Isaac's not freezing to death or walking against the wind, that he actually moves like a normal human being.
Eternal Darkness, when that game came out, people didn't know what to think of it, and then when they started playing it, you have a fear meter. When stuff starts to go wrong, it could literally be anything from you just randomly exploding when you walk into the next room, stepping on a trap, dying, the wall coming alive and eating you, the floor smashing you to the ceiling, falling down upon you, or when you go to save, it decides to delete all your saves, corrupt your OS on your GameCube, make the GameCube shut off randomly, reset. It could do a whole bunch of stuff that just messed with your head and you were just afraid to even do anything with that game.
So, the next topic is something I am extremely excited about because...
I'm going to walk away for about 5 minutes because Crescendo is just going to, she's just going to go all over
I'll
this
go
one.
get the mop and bucket.
Going to say she was going to reach a crescendo, but...
But the Wind Waker is coming back with a HD release on the Wii U. It was announced a little while ago. And,
like a couple of days.
Yeah, and my god, it looks beautiful.
Oh my god, it does!
I'm just going to be like, huh, when it comes out.
I'm going to replay that so much.
I mean, there's definitely more they can improve upon us. There's definitely more they can improve upon more than just the graphics. But honestly, as it was still a solid game. They might throw some tweaks in there, though. We'll have to see when
I
it
don't
comes
know,
out.
the art style
Now,
grew on me.
It did.
This does give me hope for a Majora's Mask HD release.
Now, here's one thing. What about the rest of what was mentioned in that release trailer about the new Zelda? About them wanting to get rid of the linearity of going from Dungeon 1 to Dungeon 2, 3, 4, and so forth. And
It's got a water temple, I don't care.
I mean, I'm open to change because, Zelda's been reusing the same formula for a while and it's become extremely prevalent, especially in Skyward Sword. Great game, but definitely got an A in Zelda 101 for following curriculum to the dot.
I mean, the last thing I want is more having to rely on clunky, weird controls, because let's face it, the Wii version of Twilight Princess, that was a pain in the butt to remember all the sword combinations.
Oh, yes, it was. Basically like playing, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2, and having to stop
Let's not
and
go
wait.
back into that. We did that last week. No.
All right.
You weren't even here, so you don't get to say anything.
But I'm definitely open to it because, especially I'm definitely open to it as long as they don't do something similar to what they did in Skyward Sword, and that's make you have a hub world and then make you have to continually revisit the 3 areas rather than just have a complete vast array of different areas for you to go to.
Well, if they're just touching up the graphics and tightening the controls, I don't think we're going to have to worry about that. Oh, you were talking about the new one, derp.
Yes.
Alright,
Yeah.
Speaking of controller combinations and new IPs for the Wii U, Bayonetta 2, Wii U exclusive. How is the motion control going to dictate stuff? Like, do you literally have to rub the controller on your body to make her do stuff or something?
No, maybe you have to hold the Wii, what do they call it? A little controller in very seductive poses in order to increase your attack power. Either that or the little camera.
Completely off the record here. You put it on your chest and then you wiggle a bit to distract the enemy.
Okay, backstory for those that have never played Bayonetta. Basically, you are a witch, you are shooting magic bullets, you're hunting down angels and demons, you're killing stuff and trying to locate lost relics of your mother, that kind of stuff. It's interesting game. I don't really remember it too well because it's an action game. It wasn't.
Think Devil May Cry.
It
Same
wasn't
general
too
thing.
memorable, to be honest with you, storyline wise, because the storyline was really dry.
Relied more
However,
on the action.
Well, not really. Like, well, the combat was smooth and the music was great. They redid Frank Sinatra's "Fly Me to the Moon," and it was awesome.
Poor Luna.
Anyway, still on the topic of Nintendo releases, new game coming out that's from the devs from Xenoblade, which is basically one of the really, god tier RPGs to come out on the Wii, called Monolith. And basically, it looks like a mix between Xenoblade, Gundam, and Final Fantasy VII. First few minutes of the teaser trailer, you're fighting basically a Brontosaurus with wings, with swords and guns and magic. Later on, you jump in a giant mech suit and go toe-to-toe with other giant robots. It looks...
awesome.
Well, to understate it, to incredibly entertaining, and absolutely awesome. I mean, there's really not too many details, it's mostly just teaser trailer stuff, but hey, I'm looking forward to it, so we'll have to see.
You said it looked like Lost Odyssey, so I wanted to give it a try.
Oh, it does look like it does look a lot like Lost Odyssey from what I've played of Lost Odyssey. Doesn't play like Lost Odyssey, considering it's not like as kind of standard turn-based, but plays a little bit like Monster Hunter too.
Lost Odyssey, when the main character's sister died, oh man, or not sister, daughter died. That made me cry.
I don't know the story, so I can't really speak for the game, but we'll see.
I think one of the only video games to make me cry as of late, at the very least, is The Walking Dead.
Oh my god, I know what you're talking about.
Right in the feels.
God, just right in the... I'm playing, I think I was playing somewhere public. I'm just like, I gotta hold back the tears. No.
Be a man! Be a man!
Lest we get sidetracked even more.
Yep.
Alright, well, Nintendo released a few details about what they're going to be previewing at E3. There's going to be a new Mario Kart, and Super Smash.
Do we really need a new Mario game? What are they going to add this time? A little propeller hat and turns you into a pink pony?
Planes. I say planes. They added underwater. Next logical step is planes.
So it's Super Mario Land?
No, it's going to turn into Diddy Kong Racing.
The beauty of Mario games, though, is it's a formula that works. It's still enjoyable. I mean, I pick up and play Super Mario 3D Land every now and again. I love the hell out of that game.
It's kind of hard to have a bad Mario game as of
Here's
late.
the
It
thing.
is.
Bad Marios are like Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, sports genres. Mario platforming game is better.
As much as I dislike sports, I actually really, really liked Mario Golf.
How did you like Mario Golf? I tried it. I'm like, no. I'm going back to Mario Tennis, because at least that makes sense.
That's like saying you liked Donkey Kong DDR just because it had free bananas.
No, I did not like that.
Do you like bananas?
Byron, go back to your corner, now.
I am in the corner. It's where my desk is.
Of the three that we named, Super Smash Brothers is what I'm most excited for.
Oh, yeah, I think everybody's most excited for Super Smash.
How's that gonna work?
They don't let us have the GameCube controller anymore.
I don't know how good the Wii U gamepad's gonna be for Brawl.
They'll probably release a classic version, which will work just as fine.
Hopefully.
I mean, they did that. They did that with the Wii. After all, they brought out the Wii Classic
Yeah, the
controller.
Wii Classic controller I think still works on the Wii U.
Yeah, you can use that.
Yeah, you could. Although I'd probably end up having to, considering that I don't trust that Wii U gamepad 3.5 hour battery life for a long Brawl match.
The gamepad wouldn't work, to be honest with you, because it's too big. The GameCube controller just has more functionality to it with the C buttons.
Oh, the C stick! I love that thing.
The C stick and everything else, it's got more buttons technically than the Wii U controller.
I think what I'm most interested in, at least right now, is the roster. Whether they're gonna drop people, pick more people up. Honestly, of the people they've got, I don't think they're obviously gonna drop any of the core people like Mario, Zelda, Luigi, etc. But I don't think they're gonna drop Snake either.
No, they've got no. If they drop Snake, Sony's gonna pick him back up.
And
Exactly.
we may see the main character from Bayonetta show up now.
Oh, that's true. We could. Hey, since Darksiders was on the Wii and Vigil Games is out, in the cold, maybe we could see Death.
That would be very interesting. He'd be very strange in a Smash Brothers game, but
Some
hey,
of the
we've got
darker characters
we've got-
clashing with the Nintendo's usually bright and cheerful characters could actually be really interesting.
We've got the, in quotation marks, realistic Ganondorf. He looks pretty good in comparison to, say, Kirby or Mario.
Well, here's the 2 new characters they can pick up, because Castlevania is now a Nintendo-only title.
Ooh, they could pick up Richard. Or Alucard.
We've got Bayonetta, so we can have Bayonetta on her as well. So, that or her sister Jean. According to Nintendo, the Wii U will have load times a little bit faster this spring. I got a question, why wait till
2-hour mandatory firmware update.
That's load times, not download times, D-pad. Different things.
Oh, I can dream, can't I?
Okay, load times, as in loading from disk.
Oh well. I'm slightly less excited.
I got a question. Why did it take so long?
I have a feeling they're running the same issue as the same way that the Xbox 360 loads Xbox games. It runs an emulator. Who knows? Who knows how that piece of junk works?
I'm sure somebody's cracked it open by now.
Fire Emblem's going to have a new crossover with Shin Megami Tensei. Not sure how I feel about that one.
I got nothing. I'm not familiar enough with Shin Megami Tensei, so...
Shin Megami Tensei is basically Devil Hunter.
Meh.
I'm not sure. It's 2 JRPGs that are just mixing together. I'm not too sure. We're going to have to play that one, see how that feels.
Yeah, well, aren't they like kind of similar based games of, that whole niche kind of community between War of the Lions and Fire Emblem and Advance Wars and all that?
Not really.
Oh, huh. Well, I guess it could be going the way of Project X Zone, kind of, since that formula seems to work.
Alright, Bask Glory Killer Dead trailer.
Yes, Suda51's new game is part No More Killers and part Killer 7, which is nice to see him going back to some of his early roots, and is called Killer is Dead. Looks like it has the slashing mechanics from No More Heroes, the gunplay of Killer 7, and the zaniness that is Suda51.
If you don't know who Suda51 is, you need to get out from underneath a rock, because great game company.
He's a guy, it's not a game company.
He has a small gaming outfit, because he's made 3 games that have passed way under the radar and everybody loves.
Yeah, although, he's... I guess you could say the Discord of the game developers, considering he doesn't necessarily follow a linear track with his thinking, nor do his games have a lot of contingency. You're just supposed to roll with it, and really, if you get past the silliness, they are amazingly good games.
Most game companies don't like him because he doesn't go through the standard game development process, which is you hire 100 people. He's got maybe like 15 people he knows.
Yeah, but he does put out quality games. Killer 7 on the GameCube is still very much playable and very much enjoyable.
Well, here's another game that's going to be memorable. Ni no Kuni.
I really don't know too much about this game.
I haven't read too much about it. All I know is that it's a mix of Level 5 and Studio Ghibli. And a lot of people already know who Studio Ghibli are and Level 5. I can't recall many Level 5 games off the top of my head. The one that springs to mind is one of my favorite game series ever, which is the Professor Layton series.
Well, I mean, we all know that with that kind of team-up, the story is going to be just fantastic.
Of course. Which is one of the main reasons I'm looking forward to getting it.
Yeah, if nothing else, I'll buy that game entirely for the story.
I don't have a PlayStation 3 yet, but between that, the Jak and Daxter collection, the Ratchet and Clank collection, and the Ico and Shadow of the Colossus collection.
Not to mention the Sly Cooper games that are coming out again.
Of course, I completely forgot about that.
Like Sly Cooper collection and the new Sly Cooper game, but...
I've got more than enough reason to get a PlayStation 3.
Yeah, not to mention now that the newer ones came out in like 2 different colors, and they come with Infamous 2, which is one of my favorite games on the PS3.
I don't know. I haven't heard much about it. I guess you could say it's rather infamous.
It's rather not infamous. That would mean it's, well known for a bad reason.
With a lot of these different RPG styles that focus more on the story, to the extent that this one might, I'm really concerned though that I'm paying for a movie and not a game.
Well, if they charge you for a movie and not a game, I think we'd all be happy.
I'd honestly pay less.
Yeah, I can buy a DVD for like $10.
Again, knowing Level 5's repertoire, again, with the Professor Layton games, you're paying for a game.
I don't think he's played a Professor Layton game.
I've read about them and seen a few of them, so I do know what they are.
He's not played one. Okay, so here's the best question in the world when it comes to a game like this. And it's the one that trumps and causes a lot of flack on news sites, including Rock Paper Shotgun, Kotaku, and even GameSpot. What language will you be playing the game in? Japanese or English?
That's actually a good question, because I know a lot of people who will enjoy a game like this, but having it in Japanese is a huge turnoff, because they don't want to be distracted by being forced to read the game instead of play the game.
Honestly, for myself, I have subtitles on regardless of the language the game is in. It's hard to hear for me sometimes, so it does help. And I know where you're coming from, but I'll still probably play it in English at least once, or at least until the point that I feel the voice acting detracts from the actual gameplay. If the voice acting is well enough done that it doesn't detract from the game, then I think playing it in English is fine. And in the end, people need to realize that it's your own preference. Nobody else can change that.
Yeah, but what I mean is, when you have subtitles on, that's different, because you're not reading from the subtitles all the time and completely ignoring all spoken word. If it's in another language, you're going to have to be actively focusing on trying to maintain memory of past events, as well as reading and trying to cobble together the story, because it's being scrolled out in front of you instead of being orated to you.
Wait, are you talking about Myst?
No. Not at all.
It's a joke, D-pad. God.
Well, that was a bad joke, so we're moving on. Okay, there's a Kickstarter up that I was linked to by Corralfur, or Chris Neosi, as you would know him. If you know him from Newgrounds, you know his work on Brawl Taunts, Tome, The Terrain of Magical Expertise, that kind of stuff. Big time person, not as public as Ego Raptor. Anyway, he's got a game. It's called Cryamore, that he has buddies working in. Basically, it's a bunch of people from Skullgirls that are working on this. This game takes influences from Legend of Zelda, Metroid, Secret of Mana, or Legend of Mana, Mega Man, and Brave Fencer Musashi. If you don't know any of those games, you need to get out right now. Go down to GameStop, go on eBay, buy them, play them, come back, listen to this, because I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait right now.
Draco?
No, I said I'm waiting. I'm waiting for him to go do it. No, this game is very good. The Kickstarter page, they want $60,000, but if they get more than $60,000, they're going to add a lot more to it. Like, if they get up to $90,000, they're going to fully voice the game.
I mean, they're up to $30,000 so far.
And how many days has it got left?
30.
Yeah, it's got plenty of time to reach that goal. Knowing good Kickstarters like this, it'll probably overachieve with it.
This reminds me a lot of Bastion, but a lot less puns.
Yeah, I don't know. I loved Bastion, though. That was a great game.
Bastion was a beautiful game, and
if only they could get Morgan Freeman to do the narrations, then it would be just god tier.
You mentioned the P word around crescendo.
There are two types of people in this world: those who like rocks and those who are wrong.
Anyway, half of this team is composed of people who have worked for or are still currently employed with Namco Bandai, Capcom, or Square Enix.
Oh, that's a killer team.
Whoa, a partial Square title that doesn't suck?
It's not a partial Square title, it's one person that works at Square.
This guy may be the last best hope for that company. See him well, come afar.
Well, if all else fails, Square Enix can always go into movies.
Yeah, they'd probably be very welcome there, in fact.
Half of these people, from what I can tell, worked on Skullgirls, which is a very good fighting game. In fact, so good that I can't even beat the beginning NPC on normal mode.
That's just because you suck.
Shut up.
Never have been good at fighting games, but it's a beautiful fighting game. I get my ass handed to me consistently, but it's a beautiful fighting game.
I whooped Crescendo and 8-Track in that one fighting game you guys had me download.
Which one was that?
It's called Melty Blood, and you went through sheer pure luck.
Sounds like we need a live rematch at one of the conventions, wouldn't you say?
Yep, that's all he did. Mash punch.
I mean, mash forward punch. That's how I won a Street Fighter tournament.
Crouch punch, crouch punch, crouch punch, crouch punch.
Play as Ryu. Down, forward, punch, 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 punch. I don't even know how to block. I just punch things.
Well, with this much game news coming out into January, kind of like gives me some hope for this year. I don't know. It's like really early in the year, and they're like, oh, all these great games are gonna be out. You know what? Ready to be honest with you, if Bayonetta 2 is only on the Wii U, I might be a little mad.
Well, I won't. I have a Wii U, so...
Here's the thing, though. In order to be to actually pull developers in to actually develop for their console, the Wii needs games like that to be locked to the system.
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
To prove that they can do it.
Bayonetta 1, when compared on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, loaded faster when installed on hard drive on the 360 than the PS3.
Yeah.
That's not surprising. The PS3 isn't as great as everyone claimed it to be.
No, it's really not, unfortunately. You know, even with mandatory installs, load times are still a pain.
Now, granted, PS3's graphical rendering is, awesome, but it's kind of hard to graphically render a loading screen.
Let's see, how much time spent looking at loading screens for a little bit better looking, or, actually being able to play the game when I put it in the stupid slot and, not having to stare at a screen for 2 hours.
You know what they had to say to that? Hello, Sonic 06!
And this is why I like my games on PC.
Sorry, who mentioned the forbidden game? Nobody mentions Sonic 06. It's like he who should not be named from the Harry Potter series.
God, it's like in Cards Against Humanity, what do I drink to forget? Sonic 06.
Oh, you guys are terrible. It's almost like Legend of Zelda 2.
Hey, that wasn't awful.
I liked Zelda 2.
I mean, yeah, you needed a Game Genie to win, but I mean... not a big deal.
The one code that lets you have, what was it, the shield spell turned into lightning?
Alright, guys. We're done with the game news this week. We got an interview coming up that was recorded way back in December. Enjoy. Alright, Bluescreen Bronies here this fine December evening of cold weather with the My Little Investigations team. Alright, guys. My Little Investigations, it's one of the big 5, I guess you could say. Well, big 4 now after today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Farewell, MLP Online.
They said something would be back in the spring, but
Summer, wasn't it?
Yeah, spring or summer.
At some point in the near future, something would take its place.
Yeah. I don't have really high expectations because, when your whole team's hopes of a game getting released gets crushed like that, it's kind of hard to come back.
Yeah.
Wow.
When you put it that way...
I mean, this is not like stealing candy and going and buying more candy. This is like stealing somebody's research homework the day of the research paper being due.
But
now,
that's how I passed college.
Wait,
you
went
know,
to
I
college?
don't doubt this.
Shut up.
He went to college, but he can't work skate.
That wasn't part of the curriculum.
What did you go to college for anyway? I'm baffled.
Well, clearly not a bachelor's in Skype.
What would that be? Telecommunications?
Something like that.
I got a better question. Would a bachelor in Skype have a bachelor's in Skype?
What?
What?
Minors, not minors.
Oh, God.
Where are you going with this? I'm so lost.
I don't even know what you're talking about anymore.
It's okay. Anyway. Okay, so MLP Online closure. Lots of speculation floating around about that. No one knows exactly why they got closed down. Just that it was a trademark issue, and it has something to do with either the name or whatever they put in the info about the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a brand. You got to protect it, and people are going to be mad and whatnot, but they got to protect it. There's no leeway like there is with copyright laws. You can't just let someone use it. When a trademark gets used, they now own it if you don't fight it.
Pretty much.
Well, they don't own it, but the worry is that trademarks can become part of the public domain.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why, for example, now you have Band-Aid brand as opposed to just Band-Aid, because Band-Aid has become a generic word that you can't trademark anymore.
Wonder if that works for Kleenex too.
Actually, it does.
Yeah.
Kleenex tissue.
I mean, it's one thing to see a game come down like that. It's another thing to see a game come down like, I don't know if you knew what VG Ponies was. They came down. No explanation as to why, just that they're no longer updating.
They're gone?
Yeah, just some sad
They're
music
gone.
and this domain will expire in a year.
Wait.
Hold on.
Wow.
And I need to look.
Yeah, no kidding.
What the?
I didn't even know this was a thing.
You apparently have rocked the entirety of the My Little Investigations team here, folks.
Bluescreen
Well,
Bronies will not be held
so-
responsible for the delayed release.
Well, I mean, I had. VG Ponies.
Huh.
We don't know why they came down. We haven't talked to them. It's just that they came down.
When did this
hold
happen?
VG.
Within the last couple weeks or so.
Huh.
It came down last month before Thanksgiving, and it's just been sitting there like that.
It took that long for people to
wow.
find out?
Yeah.
I was hoping it came down over the summer because then I would at least have an excuse to not have heard about this.
What was VG Ponies developing? I don't actually even remember. I feel.
I think it was a Brawl ROM hack.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right, that. Okay. Now I
Do
don't
you guys
get
not talk to every other pony game developer out there? Is that just not like some secret circle we don't know about?
Well, I don't know.
Not really.
Maybe it's a secret circle they don't know about.
I'm new to the team. Don't look at me.
There's some pony game Illuminate that we don't know about that's going on here.
What are you guys talking about?
Somebody get Gabby Gums in here.
Oh man, that would be awesome to run into something like that in, maybe not in Milo Investigations, but maybe like a sequel if you guys do that. Just like Gabby Gums just messes up your entire evidence trail for no
That
reason.
annoying
at all.
sidekick.
Jeez.
It'd be worse than Derpy.
Oh no, in the Doctor and the Assistant, she wasn't horrible.
I like Derpy
True.
now.
Alright. Well, we got a lot of games in the progress of just getting built right now. A lot of game mods. It's just astounding how many people are actually out there doing this stuff. Really, to be honest with you, I think it's funny that every time a new episode comes out, literally in 12 hours, this Flash animator named Footsie has a game out.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, who?
And
I
it's
don't.
decent.
I don't think I've actually even heard of this.
Footsie, Futzi01 on DeviantArt. He has a Flash game out in like 12 to 24 hours of a new episode.
Did you see the cadence toss that came
Okay,
out
that's
after
not
Crystal
bad.
Empire?
Oh, that was him. Yeah, I did
Yeah.
see that.
That was him.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he always puts
Okay.
the Konami code in them.
Yeah, almost every game of his has a Konami code input, and they're great.
They are.
There's the game called 1000 Years, where if you put in a Konami code, it instantly puts Nightmare Moon into a moon cannon.
You like bananas?
Bananas. But it's little things like that that just make me wonder, are you guys planning on putting in anything like that, like maybe a secret code to do something differently, like play as Derpy?
There will definitely be Easter eggs. I don't know about secret codes though, but I mean, obviously, if they were secret, then we wouldn't tell you about them. Dun dun dun.
Maybe like be able to put in a character name as Richter and play as Richter Belmont, maybe? I don't know.
All I could see
No,
was
I'm pretty
Derpy.
sure we won't be doing that at least.
How do you interrogate? You break out the whip.
Derpy, good cop, bad cop. She threatens to sit on them.
Boysenberry
ears of
muffin
the
or
iron
boysenberry muffin? Which one is it?
Alright, so we got Everfree Northwest coming up. We have Las Pegasus Unicon. I think
I
that's
keep
the right
wanting
name.
to say
Yeah.
Unicron.
Yeah, me too. But Orson Welles is no longer alive.
Oh.
Sad.
When you said Unicron, I was thinking, wait, the Transformers Unicron, or
I don't know. Like when you call something like with the suffix "cron," there's a lot of possible things that it could
Kron, Tron, Mon? Good God!
All right, let's stop the Transformers talk. Get back to the convention.
Oh,
talk.
you're going to get plenty of Transformers talk in the next one.
Like, how many conventions do you think you'll be able to go to besides Everfree Northwest, since it's right in your backyard, Gabu?
I don't know. I mean, most of them are over weekends, so time isn't really that big of an issue. It's mainly the fact that they're like all the way over there, and I don't have infinite money for airfare.
You don't? Dang it! I thought you would have like invented a money tree by now.
Well, actually, on my end, I do plan on going to 2 conventions, although one's smaller than the other. There's one I'm trying to get a panel at, which is the Grand Galloping Gala, which is going on in Tampa, Florida, June 30th, I believe. So that'll be interesting, and hopefully I can make my way to BronyCon next year. So.
Oh, right, it's in Baltimore, isn't it?
Maryland.
Yeah.
It's slowly trending like southeast. I expect the next BronyCon to be somewhere in the middle of Virginia.
And the train ride for me gets progressively longer.
And for me, shorter.
And for 2015 BronyCon, it'll be in the middle of Texas.
No, 2015 BronyCon will be in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, I was going to say. How do you get there? Fly southeast until you hit weird readings and then just go down.
Amelia Earhart?
BronyCon 2015 announces Amelia Earhart and Jimmy Hoffa.
Special panel.
Apparently, Martians are running for security this time.
Oh boy. That'll be
those
fun.
high-tech disintegration lasers.
Demographic.
Look for the
show's
Atlantis
amazing,
Convention
I'll tell you what.
Center.
I'd like to see more games added to where they can be shown at more cons, rather than just have Big 5, maybe like a Big 10. Because, no offense, having a Big 5 and then having you guys invited to every con and rush to make a demo for every con and then, spend a lot of money to go to every con. It's quite, draining.
Yeah.
Oh,
Seems just like money to build the game, money to show off the game, money to build the game, money to show off the game. Which do you choose?
As far as I know, we have not been invited to every con.
Yeah, then again, you don't have to be invited either. You can just do what Bajati does and just go.
Yeah, I mean,
evidently Bajati's been to
that's
every
true.
con. I mean, went to Carolina Gardens, wasn't expecting Bajati. Turn around, there's Bajati. Evidently, he was at Equestria LA, and he's going to be at Unicon.
Well, there's a difference
and
between
BronyCon.
being at a convention and being part of a convention.
You don't know Bajati then, evidently.
Hmm.
He goes, and he is the center of awesome. Like, no, seriously, everything that was happening, like, as soon as he entered the room. I noticed that immediately at Carolina Gardens. It was weird.
Guess you could say he's the life of the party.
Yeah, I was going to say that apparently the party actually doesn't start until he walks in.
That or Andrew Francis. Andrew Francis, major bro.
Sounds like it from all the stories you tell.
Anyway, all right, let's continue on. Update of the game, you've got Case Demo 2.
Yep.
So, how long did it take you to actually finish that demo?
Well, I guess that depends on what one would quantify as finishing the demo. Like, we've been working on stuff that's going into the demo, and we've also been working on stuff that's not going into the demo. The latter group, of course, being things that advance the plot and so forth. So it's kind of hard to quantify exactly how much time we spent on the demo because it's kind of part of just working on the game itself. I guess you could say we've been working on the demo since May 5th, since that's when we released the last demo. But I mean that doesn't mean that all that effort is going to be reflected in the content of the demo.
Okay, now this one, does it have Pinkie Pie telling you how to play a video game from Equestria?
Yes, it does.
Awesome!
And plenty of other things. So look forward to that.
My God, you guys are as bad as Blizzard.
We have things and stuff you should play by our game.
Spoiler alert, it has good controls.
For
That's
the
about
game
all I
lock
can say.
version, we have stuff. Give us money.
True.
You start off with like the DOS, and then it's just like, okay, now pay money and we'll upgrade you maybe to first bit.
One bit. Let's not get carried away.
Alright. Now, have you guys played the Game Loft game yet?
I would like to, but I own like tons of gaming consoles and devices, and they managed to pick every single one that I don't own to release the game on.
You're not missing much.
So yeah, I've been unable to play it. Although yes, I have heard that it's basically a pay money to win game.
I've played it.
Pay money or wait 10 years.
That too, yeah.
Not saying a word.
Pay money or no life it.
Pretty much. Although they might lower prices in the future, but I doubt it.
But
They
I
want
mean,
money.
I would like to play it mainly just to say that I did, because I mean it's My Little Pony, and it's a game.
What's been the response of your game with the new demo coming out? Like, has it been a good reception or been a bad reception?
Well, I mean it's not out yet, so
Oh,
Yeah, Draco,
okay.
you didn't hear that little story, did you?
Evidently not. So let's
Dun,
backtrack there.
dun, dun.
Well, the thing is, we haven't really advertised the demo that's coming out much. It's just going to come out, and we're just going to do our best to spread the word when it does come out, and hopefully just keep increasing hype for the game.
there are kind of two reasons why we haven't been hyping it too much. One is that, well, I mean, I think the main reason is that could create the effect where people are like, oh my god, more of case one, and then they'll play it and they'll be like, wait, this ends the same place where it did, rabble, 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 which is kind of why we're also going to try to make absolutely clear that the main purpose of this demo is in two parts. One, it's to keep people interested as we work on case one, and two, it's to show a much more polished game in terms of their user interface and gameplay and stuff like that.
It's basically our alpha. Like, it's basically in that state in terms of polish. And there's still content being created, but we are definitely much closer than we were during May 5th. And I hope the fans see that, and yeah, I can't wait to release more info in the coming months.
So it's just kind of your demo point two.
Well, I mean, it's basically it's like the demo in May 5th, updated with a bunch of new stuff.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
just- but
2.0. Yeah.
Yeah, but just not plot related stuff.
Right. No, of course. I mean, it's a demo. You don't want to throw out all your good secrets before you even have the game out.
Yeah.
Especially for one of this caliber, because the whole plot and the whole story is the game. So
Yeah.
pretty hard to keep that on the wraps and keep people updated at the same time.
No. Well, at least we get exclusive
Yeah,
coverage. Woot woot.
Yeah, about that.
Haha. Blatant self-plugging. Ha ha ha.
Anyway, okay, so anything like that you've wanted to put in to the game so far that you just absolutely couldn't, and that you want to share with us?
Honestly, we got pretty much everything that we wanted to be in the demo. Not having a hard release date definitely helped with that, since then we could wait until we did have everything that we wanted.
Well, Gabo, there was this one thing we did had a cut that we mentioned way back last year.
I don't even remember what was this.
It was when we have testimonial evidence, like that system.
Oh well, I had assumed the question was more like stuff that's in development right now that we didn't put in the demo.
No, I meant anything at all that had to been cut out that you wish you could have put in.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood the question then.
Wouldn't be the first time that I had a misunderstanding question.
Well, yeah. Anyway, to touch on what Zeus was talking about, one thing that we did cut was initially we were going to have three types of evidence. The third being testimonial evidence, which basically would be like it would show things that characters had said in the past, and then you could flip through their statements and then select a given statement as like a piece of evidence to use against something else. But then the more we thought about this and started implementing it, the more we realized that typically speaking, whenever there's like a big reveal, there's just like one thing that's said, which makes it kind of pointless to make it like select the bit of dialogue as opposed to just having it put in your evidence list as the important thing that this guy said.
Yeah.
There's also like a bit with our partner abilities, so that went under a lot of iterations before we agreed on something. Like before, like now it's pretty uniform. It's sort of like, as we explained in the video, more works like a second press. But before, Gabbo and I were coming up with a bunch of unique ideas for each partner.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I thought you were done.
Okay, well, I was just basically saying that active abilities, passive abilities, like we had different active abilities. Like I remember when we were designing maybe like for Pinkie Pie, she would basically, like, we may have had it where she would like confuse the opponent out of control until they spill something, and that's basically a minigame on its own. Or let's say if Applejack's a partner and then she can tell where in the testimony a pony is lying, sort of like the perceived system. But Gavin and I just figured that it would just be much easier just to have a more situational based, more uniform.
It's not just that it was easier. It's also that in the future we're planning on having the ability to make custom cases, and it would be very constraining or very complicated to have the initial form of the partner system that we were thinking of in a case like that, whereas it's much easier to work with the way that we have right now.
Yeah, that definitely does sound like it would clash a little bit.
We are going to have every partner have like a unique partner ability, and basically the thought that we both agreed on with that was that if we did go down that route, that would basically make it so that either you could only have these ponies as your partners and no one else, or we'd have to invent some super complicated way of like inventing a completely new ability for different partners, both of which sounded very bad. So we didn't go with that.
Yeah, that definitely does sound like it'd be a little bad. Now, you base this a lot off of Ace Attorney, and Ace Attorney has a vocalization of an objection into your machine and looking awkward in the middle of an airport when you do that, getting TSA riled up and everything.
Yes,
that doesn't take much to do.
Do you plan on having peripheral support for like a microphone should some little brony want to yell objection and just creep his parents completely out?
I'm sure that there probably exists, like, for example, voice recognition software that we could probably make use of, and it would probably be fairly easy to put it in, but at the moment, not really something that we're thinking about. Once the main core of the game is done, then we'll probably start thinking about little fun things like that.
All
so
right.
I guess the answer is maybe.
Okay, now your game, even though it's a computer point and click mystery basically, do you think it finds some similarity between Myst in your game?
Not really.
I was going to say, I don't think it's take random object and then try to combine it with everything in front of you that you see.
Right, we do have an evidence combination system, but I wouldn't say that was directly inspired by Myst. That was mostly inspired from Trauma Team, I believe, like the forensics.
Yeah, it was.
Wait, Trauma Team? You mean like the Doctor game?
Yeah. The latest version on the Wii has a forensics version, which is kind of like a mystery solving thing, and one of the features in there is that you can combine two pieces of evidence together to make it into something else.
I'm sorry, I can't picture that game anymore. Ego Raptor has completely ruined it.
Which one? Trauma Team?
Yeah, Yeah,
Trauma Center redo.
The whole thing about pew pew zombie cancer.
Doctor, my sister has cancer. Zombie cancer?
yeah.
I haven't
And
seen
then
that.
Aaron's just sitting there with his Wii remote, and he's got that look on his face like... When it comes down to it, and it's time to release, what are your expectations on how it'll be received?
Well, I hope people like it.
Well, that probably goes without saying. But
If you're looking for a more specific answer, I think you're going to have to ask for a more specific question.
Let me guide it a little bit further here, since we're off the track a lot more than I thought we were. Okay. Do you expect more constructive feedback, or do you expect the commonplace fanboyism of this game is good or this game sucks?
Well, if a lot of the feedback that we got in after the first demo was on the fact that it doesn't work on their computer, which we're hoping that we don't get this time, which is one of the biggest reasons why we changed the architecture that it's built on. I would like to get constructive feedback. I would also like to get people telling us that the game is awesome. I'm almost certain that we will get people telling us that our game sucks or needs to have X, Y, and Z. But on the whole, I'm at least hoping that people like it. I mean, that's kind of why we're making it.
Well, I do agree. I do expect the usual haters and obviously some fanboyism and some constructive feedback, because although we worked tirelessly on the story, there are probably going to be some flaws and plot holes that you didn't notice. That we gladly point out to us, because we know we have those people in the fandom. Mm-hmm. But I also expect a bunch of speculation to happen as well at the end of Case 1. So, because, assuming we get positive feedback, we definitely have to keep going. And, yeah, I hope the fans continue to stay active on the forums and speculate and give us their crazy theories, because I love reading those. They're really fun to read.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I've been in this fandom long enough, I'm going to go ahead and call it. There's going to be at least 10 posts saying that you ruined their fanfic.
I mean, we're not defining canon, so you can't exactly ruin anyone else's, canon.
Yeah. Season 3 thrown you guys for a loop for anything canonical yet, or is that really not within your concern?
It was something we were worried about. Thus far, we have not encountered any, apocalyptic scenarios in terms of...
thank goodness.
Scootaloo is still adorable.
Well, this I cannot argue with.
I shouldn't say too much, but there was one episode in particular where we were very worried, and the worst did not come to pass. So,
which is always good.
Yeah.
Well, think of it like this, okay? When it comes to showing King Sombra in your game, you only have to show him for 3 seconds,
followed by 20 minutes of gack.
And don't forget, crystals.
He only has 2 lines. You're good.
He's got to say crystals. He's got to lick his lips, then he's got to explode, and that's it.
It would be pretty hard to get King Sombra's character wrong in a fanfic, mainly because he doesn't have one.
Yep.
He's
the cardboard cutout villain, basically.
Are you guys going to have an achievement system to where you have not awesome achievements where you got to do a certain awesome thing, but funny achievements, like you unlocked Derpy throwing a muffin into Twilight's eye?
It's not final yet, but I would say not to expect something like that, mainly just because this is the type of game that doesn't really lend itself very well to the achievement type of system. I mean, it's basically the main draw of the game is, the linear story in it, and otherwise, this side stuff is mainly, we're trying to make the side stuff entertaining in and of itself, as opposed to having, to put an artificial carrot in front of you saying, hey, you should really do this thing.
Right.
So basically, I guess the achievements in our game is just finding the funny hidden dialogue. I mean, we're kind of hoping that will be, reward in and of itself.
All right. Well, I got a question, because I immediately thought about this when I saw the panel at Everfree Northwest this past year. You had Pinkie Pie give you the tutorial and explain that it is a video game, and just Twilight sit there and be like, what?
Yeah.
D-pad made me think of this because D-pad would totally do this if he was a cartoon character pony and explaining something through the fourth wall. Oh, achievement unlocked! I gotta go update my gamer score. Kind of thing.
Beep boop.
What?
Bloop, bloop. Like, have you ever thought about making Pinkie Pie just randomly say something like that during the tutorial, like as she was leaving? Ooh, my gamer score updated, kind of thing, But then, wait, that's kind of like copyrighted by Xbox then, though,
Oh, don't you worry. Like, Pinkie Pie is going to break the fourth wall enough times, but obviously to say any details about that would be spoiling the fun.
Considering
But,
I think I already know one of the ideas.
I mean, a logical issue with that is as well, though, is that if a game doesn't have any achievements, then Pinkie Pie would be more just hallucinating as opposed to actually talking about things that were outside the fourth wall.
Yeah, I was going to say something along the lines of, well, if you ever have a thing where you would need certain system requirements, it scans your system, Pinkie Pie comes in, ooh, maybe you should consider buying a better computer. Because if you can't run this, I'm wondering why you still have it.
Yeah.
Stop running your computer on a Swedish piece of wood.
Given that we do actually have a troubleshooting section in the README that basically says we've tested this on every computer we can think of and it runs fine everywhere. So if you have problems, we'd really like to know what they are.
Are you playing this on a cell phone?
How did you even get this game on like an Apple IIe?
I'm playing it on.
How did you get an Apple IIe to start with?
D-pad's got a great idea there. I think it would work just for about any game with Pinkie Pie in it. Just if the game crashes and a bug report comes up, have Pinkie Pie yell at you.
Yes. The only problem though is that if the game crashes, then what if Pinkie Pie attempting to tell you about it also crashes for the same reason?
Plus, people would try and crash it specifically to hear all of Pinkie Pie's messages. In the past, I've joked that I really want to create a kernel panic screen that just has an ASCII art of like Derpy, and then write like a faulty graphics driver that purposely crashes your OS to see it.
The blue screen, the BSOT is just Pinkie going, "Oops, probably shouldn't have pulled that."
The blue screen of Derpy.
The blue screen of Derpy.
How odd, given our podcast name.
I'm so sorry. It's really hard to deliver all of your drivers.
I just don't know what went wrong.
I tried to find your bits, but they all disappeared.
Bits, double meaning.
To end this conversation on a good note, every time I see an achievement score, I immediately think of Derpy backing into it with her bum and all the achievements falling down, totaling down to 0. And making D-pad cry, manly tears.
If I lost my gamer score, it wouldn't really matter.
I don't think they'd be manly tears at that point.
I think he would have broke the Xbox at that point. Avian, Zeus, Gabu, thanks for coming for third try. If you ever want to come back on, just shoot me a message on Skype.
Alrighty.
We'll set up an interview, and if you ever want us to release info about your game, I mean, right there.
All right.
To be perfectly frank, we
good
signed
to me.
no such non-disclosure agreement. So,
To be perfectly frank, we didn't sign any agreement
Exactly.
whatsoever, really. Anyway, let's go ahead and end this here. We'll pick it up at some other time. And really, Gabu, I have to thank you because 2 rounds of errors really kind of suck.
I don't mind. I have fun talking with you guys.
that's always good. Good to hear we're not driving people away with our rampant mistakes and mildly entertaining demeanor.
Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great time.
All right.
Have fun.
See ya.
And
That was
Yeah.
fun. Thank you.